Another Sunday, another episode of Afterthoughts. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the program. I'm your host, Nadeem Kader. And today, our guest is someone who has been dealing with the electricity sector. The scorching heat is there, the blackouts are there, and we will discuss a lot about it. And of course, it is not his only area. He has his major businesses in other areas also. He's, of course, Mr. Muhammed Aziz Khan, the chairman of the Summit Group. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
First, a very soft question, because as I said in my introduction, that you are very known in your business circle, locally and internationally. Your Summit Group is very known. And I do remember when you started, so it was a very modest start that you have, and now it's one of the major corporate houses. How, for the young generation who are pursuing to make it better in the coming days, what have you to tell them, and how did you make it so big? What is the success story behind?
Thank you very much. Thank you for saying all those beautiful words. Though I believe that we must give society much more if we are to achieve the position that you are perhaps alluding us to. But yes, it has been a very good journey. Summit Industrial and Mercantile 85, a consolidation of partnership companies. We have always tried to provide for the society. We felt that it's a responsibility, it's a call, it's a requirement for businesses to provide the needs of the society. And in that process, I'm happy that we could do something delivered to an extent. We started with, we always look for businesses which has not been done at that time. And we started with import and export, importing caustic soda, exporting molasses from Bangladesh, then setting up the first tanks terminal in Bangladesh in infrastructure, then setting up the first container depot, and subsequently in 1998, the electricity generation company, Khulna Power Company Limited. It has been a good journey, and it's still the beginning of the journey.
What more plans do you have? A TV channel, perhaps?
No. Fortunately or unfortunately, not at this point in time. We believe our competitive edge lies in providing infrastructure to the nation. There is still, as I mentioned, huge gap between electricity demand and supply. We are planning on working on going to Bhutan and generate hydroelectricity and see if that can be imported into Bangladesh from our
There was once this talk in the SAARC countries that about making a reservoir or something in Nepal and then getting a major generation from Nepal also. Hydroelectric
Nepal
power.
has got huge shortfall of electricity themselves,
yes.
and the Nepalese hydroelectricity potentials are more in the upper region, in the northern side. Bangladesh is much to the south, and if you want to generate electricity near to Tibet and then bring them over the hills, not hills, over the mountains
rather,
and then bring it to, as they call, Tarai. This is true also for Bhutan, and then bring it to Bangladesh to the south. We have to have huge investments. There is nobody over there. We have to take all these people to build those hydroelectricity. So the potential is there, but the economic viability, the commercial aspect of it must be taken into account. In Bangladesh, in Bhutan, there are still some mountains near to the east and near to the south, but most of them have already been taken over by Indian companies and Indian government to generate electricity for themselves. So it's a misnomer when somebody says that there's 30,000 megawatt potential in Bhutan, but those are more to the north.
Okay. Which is not accessible for us.
Which is not accessible for anybody at this point in time.
Right. So if you talk about future, we were talking about electricity crisis, and coming back to that issue again, that when there was only the government-run power system in Bangladesh, there was a huge crisis. You came in 98. There were many other companies which came in, and we know that you've got major projects, Meghna projects, 1 and 2, I think. So these are the major projects coming up. But despite the 5,000 megawatts of generation and reason for continued shortfall. But will it never be over? I mean, people do want to know that. I mean, and how will you contribute to that?
No, we will. First of all, we will contribute as much as we can with full force and as if it is a call, as if it is a responsibility for us to do that. So it is for the government of Bangladesh, which is also reflected in the constitution of the country, that electricity will be provided to the people. But having said that, you have to understand the magnitude of the aspect. As I mentioned, that we are growing at about 6-7% and population is growing at 3%, and only 40% people has access to electricity. So as you keep on giving more connections, that means another 3%. You're really talking about giving 15 to 20% more electricity each year. So this year, if we are giving 5,000 megawatts, next year if we give 20% more, 6,000 megawatts, we would still face this same shortage. And this shortage will not end till we have given electricity to all.
Absolutely.
Because the person who is not receiving electricity, to him, the entire day there is no electricity. So what does it mean? It means an investment of about $3 billion, 1,500 megawatts of electricity every year. And when you generate electricity, you have to also think in terms of supply chain, that this electricity requires either natural gas or coal or petroleum oil at this point in time. So you have to provide for that. And then as you generate this more electricity, you have transmission and distribution. So you're talking about $3 billion. That's not available with the government of Bangladesh or in Bangladesh. But again, had we been able to invest $3 billion, would we overcome the problem? No. Because then your growth would move from 7% to 10%. And therefore, there would be more industries, more infrastructure, more wealthier people, and more demand of electricity. So today, if you have a 15% or 12% increase year on year of electricity, it would shift to 15% to 20%.
So does it mean that we are stuck with the blackouts, or does it mean that in the future, say 20 years from now, the major cities will not have blackouts, but other smaller towns will still be having a crisis?
Well, you ask a very deep question there. Why? Because recently Citibank NA, the American bank, they have stated that Bangladesh between 2010 and 2050 would be the fourth fastest growing country, having 8% GDP growth from 2010 until 2050. Now, that means that we are in the right direction. You will have blackouts, you will have load shedding, but still we would be generating more electricity, more productivity, more wealth, more people coming out of poverty. As you know, the human index of Bangladesh is one of the best. Recently, today, the Pascal Lamy, Director General of WTO, he is praising Bangladesh. Prior to that, Sonia Gandhi. I mean, it's everywhere around the world. What does that mean? That means that you have four main items in free market economy: land, labor, capital, enterprise. So, labor is becoming a capital as the human index improves, as more people are educated, as more engineers are coming up, more computers are coming up. We are building a huge demographic capital, and we are getting the dividends also. And this will continue. What would be in short supply perhaps in the future is land.
Absolutely.
As we take away land from the farmers for agriculture or for habitation, we would be seeing a conflict over there as well.
So new challenges,
new challenges.
But you've also got a contract with for a new power station. I was saying Meghna 1 and 2, and if I may, ask that there's a lot of rumor about you having this contract, or especially during the regime of this government, because your brother happens to be a minister. So there is a talk in the town, that there are benefits and that you get from during your business. Although I don't know, and maybe you have something to say.
No. Bangladesh is a meritocratic society. In a free market economy, it's a meritocratic society. So each individual is supposed to do his fullest ability and provide his fullest for the society, for himself, for others. Honorable Minister Farooq Khan is a parliamentarian for 18 years. He has been, in my opinion, a very successful minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. And all these are by his own merit. And I'm very proud of him because he does his works very passionately, loving Bangladesh, giving his full efforts into it, all the hard work that is necessary to do that. But it ends there. It is his merit that makes him the minister. And each of our businesses are done with absolute merit of Summit Group of companies, Summit's people, in an open market, in a transparent manner. And it's unkind of the critics to, in my opinion, to demean.
I mean it's a very common idea.
Both of us, or the entire society, by saying that it is not meritorious, rather influential.
No, but basically, there are examples that are there in the past. Possibly that is the reason why. I'm sorry to ask you that question.
No, it's fair. It's an opportunity to be able to talk about it.
But talking about your new projects, only yesterday I was talking to somebody on the energy sector, and they were saying that we should use more of the captive power that's there. Also, there's criticism about rental power plants. And what is your assessment?
I mean, Bangladesh is developing very fast. Human indexes are good. The GDP growth is good. We need a lot of electricity. We need hydroelectricity. We need the conventional natural gas burnt electricity in combined cycle for base load. We need peaking plants for between 6 to 12 o'clock.
Right.
And when we are unable to provide these for continuation of process industries and for wealthier people, we need captive power plants.
Right.
So it's a continuity of demand. And you see, when you are talking about captive power plant, people are using electricity at about 26 to 30 taka per kilowatt hour.
Right. I'm sorry, Mr. Khan, we'll have to go for a short break, for a commercial break. We'll be back. Viewers will be back shortly after a commercial break. Please do stay with us. Welcome, our viewers. You're watching Afterthoughts, and of course, today our guest is Mr. Muhammed Aziz Khan, the chairman of the Summit Group. As we are talking about captive power, you're explaining. So,
and to conclude, that we need all sorts of electricity generation, but of course, it would be best if we can bring down the electricity generation cost. That would be possible by going for combined cycle power plants from the using natural gas. The government
we don't have enough gas also.
We must keep on looking, and I think we are very fortunate to receive this access to the new maritime boundary that we have. I hope we get natural gas over there. That would be a huge impetus to growth, and that would be a huge possibility to remove the scarce of electricity. You were also mentioning about the power plants that we are been provided to implement. We're implementing the Meghnaghat 335 megawatts, hopefully ahead of schedule, which should be coming in July, August 2013. Bibiana 1 and 2, which were supposed to come at about the same time, is unfortunately suffering from funding challenges that has been brought about by the delay in release of funds by the World Bank Group, International Finance Corporation, and the Asian Development Bank.
Yes, I was about to ask you, because we know that the World Bank has very different policies in different countries. And have you had real troublesome negotiations with the World Bank for your projects?
Well,
because our Padda Bridge project was held up without having an absolute proof of any graft in that particular case. They're still waiting to find the papers. So there is a talk that World Bank has not been very worldly in their activities.
I don't want to take on the World Bank, but certainly there have been broken promises by the World Bank, and it provides a perception of betrayal from an ally on whom we relied a lot, our company and the country, as you have mentioned. So I feel that because of the largeness of the World Bank and the various thought processes within the World Bank Group, they might be almost imploding. They have not been able to serve their mandates in most of the developing countries. So we have the challenge, and they have this huge transparency issues which are invisible. They're transparent. Invisible, as you mentioned, that they haven't provided any clue, but have used that as a way of not providing funds to the
Padda Bridge.
No, to the people of Bangladesh. Padda Bridge is a name, but whether it is the Bibiana project or whether it is Padda Bridge or whether it is any other project in which the World Bank supports, it provides support to the citizens, to the people of Bangladesh, and not to specific governments, not to specific persons. And if they are thinking they're doing that, that's definitely prejudicial to the people of Bangladesh.
Right. So haven't you had your mind shared with the World Bank people that their stand is not always very welcome, and at times when your project gets stuck, which means the people of Bangladesh suffer in terms of electricity or anything else. If the bridge gets stuck, which means the communication problem is delayed, and people of Bangladesh suffer. So, and what is the response you usually get from them?
Unfortunately, we cannot access the very high-ups of the World Bank for a couple of reasons. Number one, the World Bank would say and states that their relationship is with the government of Bangladesh and not with private parties. Even though IFC, International Finance Corporation, is a group member with whom we can interact, and they have informed us that all the projects in Bangladesh are being looked after by the compliance department, which is under the president of the World Bank Group, Mr. Robert Zelig. So they are unable to state anything. Yes, no, it will take so much time, it will not be possible, it will be possible. They have stopped. They say that we can't say anything when the compliance department takes up certain files.
So, I mean, so that they're kind of held back by the compliance department, and there's no one to.
According to them, once compliance department takes over certain matters, they are unable to even ask the compliance department when it would be released.
Right, but in a country which is so partisan, I think there's politics in everything, and we don't know if politics plays a role with the World Bank also. But as journalists, we often hear that there are political influences which regime to regime varies. And have you had a feel of that the World Bank's decisions or have had some political influences? Because
well, that's where I'm disappointed, or I'm saying a perception of betrayal, because what we have been reading and knowing all through, that World Bank is not supposed to be politicized, or that is not supposed to be influenced by a single person, as an example Professor Yunus, or a political party, as an example our opposition parties. They are not supposed to be influenced by that. They are supposed to be supporting the people of Bangladesh.
Absolutely.
And I hope that would be happening. I am a firm believer and an optimist in that sense, I believe that World Bank and Bangladesh relationship would become good very soon.
Well, we can always hope for that, because we have to move forward and get our things done.
Yes.
Mr. Aziz Khan, I think this will be my last question, possibly. Your company was also accused of the share market scam in one way or the other. And I think it's very important that we discuss a bit about it and what you have to say on that, because this is a serious allegation where a lot of people who had invested in the share market were absolutely left paupers.
Well, I would start with your last sentence, that paupers. That is incorrect. But I will now move on to answer your question. There is no accusation against Summit. There is some misconception about Khulna Power Company Limited, brought about primarily by Honorable Ibrahim Khalid's report, in which he used Khulna Power as an example. He did not make any allegations of fraud or allegations of impropriety. He used Khulna Power Company as a case study, showing that even when things have been going as per law, how it eschews the pricing of shares. I must say that that has not been done properly. We should not have been used as a case study without any allegation. I believe that Khulna Power Company is a very good stock. We have increased our generation by 150% in the last 2 years. Our profitability has been growing by 50% every year. We have been giving dividends of 25% at least every year, stock dividends, which means really a larger return. There could have been manipulation at that time, certainly not by us. And I strongly believe that capital market is a very important tool in the financial space of a free market economy, and it is very important that the government and everybody recognizes and realizes that large companies and large infrastructures, large businesses, that is the conduit to provide an opportunity for the common people to own large businesses. That is also the conduit to receive capital for very large businesses in a free market economy where the private sector owns these facilities. I hope the government of Bangladesh and the people connected would recognize the importance of the capital market and the contribution each individual shareholder provides towards the development of the country and how important they are. Summit certainly does, and we are very respectful of our shareholders. We work for them. We are there as management only to serve their cause, and we are very proud that every time we give very good dividends.
Right, Mr. Khan, thanks for your comments, and I hope you will not take it personally, but these are matters of interest for the viewers, and especially when your company is a household name. But thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope to have you back, and wish you good luck in your projects in the coming days.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, viewers, come to the end of the program. I hope we had some interesting discussion today, some ideas about the future of electricity in Bangladesh, and also some very personal questions which I thought I might take the chance and ask Mr. Aziz Khan. Thank you for watching.